Well, I guess you could say we quit right at the right time here last night. We got this field done. There's a small field on the other end of it, down on the other road, not too far from here. Twice around, I get a tailings elevator chain or tailings elevator problem. So I shut off immediately. I have just shut the head off in the past, leave the separator going, and then open the door up on the bottom of the elevator, let it clean out, and then close it back up, and then you can go again. Well, this time I just shut it off, got out quick. I was actually on the phone with somebody, and I just shut it off immediately so that they didn't listen to the thing blaring and whatever, and I got out, and I'll show you what we found. Second time around. Good thing we didn't go over into that field here last night. Well, I guess it maybe would have been better to have gone over into there, because I would have figured out what I had, but I'd have been monkeying with it in the dark. So we've got a chain hanging down here, and we need to get a connector link back in it or something here. So we need to get things opened up so that we can get that chain back in line. Alright, see what we got here. Alright, we are trying to figure out where the chain is broke, whether it's broke on the top side of the sprocket or the bottom. And I guess, yeah, what I need to do is maybe have Sarah pull on that chain and kind of see where the slack is. If I can hold that top sprocket, and if she can't pull the chain from the top, then the chain is broke somewhere in here, and then I could just roll this sprocket and we can kind of feed this chain back down to this point. The only other way we can do this is pull the whole chain out, put a rope in there, and put it all back in, but we're trying to minimize our workload here. We couldn't get that chain to fall the way it was supposed to, so we removed this inspection door. Now we are kind of going in through it here. bit. Alright, all that happened is the cotter pin came out, but it has spread the link. I've gotta get that to drop here. Supposed to be. All right, keep going until it won't go no more. I think it's falling. It's doing what it's supposed to, I think. I think. All right, so we're taking the chain up over the top. She's rolling that, and it should be falling down through here. So we just need to take a peek on up on in here. Alright, go ahead. Now go the other way. Right down, keep going. A little farther. It's almost to me here. It's almost there. All right, hold up for a second. Corn stalk in there. So we have it right here, but we've got a bad link right there as well. So I'm wondering if I can get a new chain. I'm going to put a new chain on that. Will that hold itself there? Okay. Alright, let's make some phone calls. And we're either going to have to get a couple of repair links, at least a master link. I probably could get away with just forming that link back, but let's see if somebody's got Tailings elevator chain here. So if I can get a new chain, I'm gonna grab a new chain. If not, what we're gonna need to do, reach in and shut that off, will ya? At least what we need to do is I could probably just put this link back together, and then as far as anything else, we could maybe get away with just straightening this master link out and just putting another cotter pin in it. So I don't know. This, well, I'm kind of thinking out loud here. We could probably just get that back together. See if there's a pair of vice grips in that toolbox. All right, so I called over to O'Hara Machinery, which is not that far away. We're closer, a lot closer to them than we are Kaz Equipment. They've got half links, however, they don't have a new chain. New chain was cheap. I think he said it was 378 bucks. But, Sarah's going after the parts, by the way. But I don't think this chain is that old. So, we're gonna just throw some half links in there. And, throw some half links in. And a couple of masters, or a master and a couple of half links, and we should be good to go. So what we can do is we can put our chains back on, our drive chains. I took the top one off, and I took the bottom one off that goes over to the tailings auger that brings the tailings this way. So that makes things for a little easier to get driven back and forth and whatever else like that. I seen on a Facebook page here the other day, a guy broke his his tailings elevator chain. He didn't know how to put that on, and it's pretty well self-explanatory. So this one was easy because the chain was already in at the top. If the chain wasn't in there, if it was all, you know, if I took that cover off the bottom and it all came out the bottom, you could drop a rope or a string or something and from the top pull it in and feed it around. So we'll go ahead and get our chains back on, and we'll wait for Sarah to get back here, and we'll get this thing going. Well, this is where we are at the current moment. I've got the cover back on the front top side of that tailings elevator housing. And as you can see, we didn't combine too long. It's a good thing I just shut down and wanted to pay attention to the phone call I was on, rather than try to jump out and throw that cover down and just let that clean out. Because usually what happens is the clutch will slip. And when the clutch slips, it kicks that sensor saying that this elevator is not running. And yeah, so that's what happens there. So if I'd have left this running, it would have probably pulled all the chain up to the top, over the top, and it would have dumped it all right here. It would have came all off of there. So we saved ourselves a couple of steps by still having it up in the top so that we could just grab it with that or that idler sprocket. So yeah, we'll go around this with a grease gun, get that chain there on, and we'll wait for Sarah to get back here. One thing I didn't grab out of my truck was a grinder to get that link opened up. But we do have Kaz equipment coming to put a dosing something or other on this 8320, so maybe Rich will have something to pop this chain link apart while we're waiting for Sarah to get back here, or we just use the grinder. But let's get after it here. Well, Sarah is back here, and we just need to get this chain link apart and throw some halves in there, and then get the master link back in. She's getting a couple of halves in right there. You got to turn it just so. Where's the groove? Is it on the end? Okay, you got it. And then you have to put your, what is that one got? Those style?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get this finished up here. All right, we are together. We're gonna go ahead and run this quick before the parts truck leaves. All right, you grab that. good to go. Kaz is here. They've got Sarah up and going. They're just running that through a little diagnostic procedure or a little setup or whatever. What was that? Dosing something or other? Yeah, so Rich has got his new service truck here today. That's the first they've been off-road. So we are going to go ahead and get back to the field. Well, everything is moving along here nicely. We got a lot of ears coming into the combine. If you guys were to guess how many bushel an acre this corn is producing, go ahead and drop a comment down below. We'll see who can get the closest. But yeah, it's doing really well. We don't want to brag too hard here because there's a lot of blowhards here on YouTube's that will overly inflate their number, and yeah, they usually lie. So at any rate, everything is moving along here very nicely. That repair went smoothly. The damn cotter pen, it just wore off from all of the material throughout the years running past it, and that's usually always the weakest link of anything, is the master link. So we've got that all set and going now, obviously, because we're moving. Now, I do not know for the life of me why I wouldn't have had some spare links around. After looking at it, that link looks like it's the same size chain that is on the mixer wagon. I could of course be wrong, but we do have a few master links and a few half links. We'll have to go ahead and probably replace the elevator chain on the Tailings side come this winter. When Rich was replacing the dosing valve on the 8320R, I had asked him if any elevator chains got replaced when they did all the work on this combine here last year, and he does not recall replacing the elevator chains. So we'll have to get a new one in there at some point, but we're just going to keep plugging away here, and everything should stay rolling nicely. A couple of single rows we need to pick up, and then we'll roll on down into the other side of this field. All right. Okay, so we are into the following day, and I could smell belts burning. I could smell rubber for that matter. And I asked Sarah if she could see anything smoking. She said she couldn't, and we've got our grain unload. Belts have fallen off. I don't know exactly why, but we're gonna have to figure it out. So yeah, well, I'll grab my ladder. We'll figure out why that happened. It looks like this shroud is slid down. I don't know, maybe the belts are just wore enough to where they fell off. So all right. Alright, so we have removed the shroud. I think all that really happened here is the belts were just wore out. They popped off. When they popped off, they floated around in there, and it kicked this belt off of the pulley, ran it over this way. And it's got a pretty good groove in it all the way down the side. So we're going to go ahead and replace that one. And I've got some belts for the grain unload. So the good part about all this is we have belts. The bad part about all of this is we had to go all the way home to get them. In the past, I have carried those grain unload belts in the toolbox. However, I did not have them with me this time. So we have a shroud to remove up on the top there. We need to get that off. Loosen this belt here up. We'll knock this guy off. We might as well put a new one on it. We could still use this one as a spare, but as long as we have a new one, we might as well throw it on there. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get things swapped out here. For a little while, like a year. It's got a long spot for a year. Yeah, one of these bearings went, and I thought the combine was going to burn on me. Didn't it look like that?
Yeah, and you told us, you said just fill. Don't come towards me.
Ow. Ow. There we go. Yeah, and then I'm gonna start it.
Probably was bad for you in here.
Yeah, you could, because you ain't got nothing on that other truck, right? Yeah, you
Well,
could
he
just...
could just leave it on the road. This
Yeah,
one, 'cause I got
either
two
or.
driveways.
Yeah. All right, we are up and going now. From last year until now, we might have had the belts that run this straw chopper running on the wrong pulley. But that's all right. There's 3 grooves in that shiv. We had them in the outer 2. Now we're running on the inner 2. So we're going to try that. We'll see how that works. Set of belts left if they burn up again, and I got a new set ordered. Alright, let's roll out here. Keep an eye on this side of the combine, make sure you don't see any blue smoke. Alright? Alright, so this is first time we've unloaded since we put all our new belts on. Well, we put a couple of used grain unload belts on there, but they are in really good condition. If you'll notice, our flap is still kind of sitting cattywampus on our boot, and yeah. Hello? Alright, that did not last that long. Right when I was starting to unload, of course I turned the video camera on and then the phone rings. Every time I go to do something, the phone has got to ring. Everybody needs constant assistance. So we don't know what is going on other than maybe these belts that we put on were just dry rotted. So we're gonna go ahead and put another set of belts on there, and then we're gonna have to run it. I'll have to turn my phone off, or maybe I'll have to send an email out to everybody to sit tight. Just sit down, and we'll get you taken care of. All right, we got another set of belts on. Go ahead. give her another try. I don't know. All right, we are back at it for a second time, third time, whatever you want to call it. Don't really know what happened to that second set of belts other than they were probably just dry rotted. It's one way to get rid of old stock, and that is to use them up. They were used. They have been on the combine before, and for whatever reason they got swapped out and new ones were replaced. I mean, I had a couple of other issues with that whole grain unload system in the past years with bearings going and sprockets falling off, and when I replaced some of those items I had put new belts on and saved the old ones. So my brother, he has gone back to the farm. Casanova was going to drop off a set of new belts just so that we'll have them in case that happens again. We have 3 guys trucking corn, and because I have had some issues, he doesn't have a load to take right now, so him and 2 other guys are trucking corn on into Genoa Commodities. This corn will be dried, stored, and then if we choose to use this corn, well, it won't actually be this corn, but we'll have a certain amount of stock into Genoa Commodities. That's where we get our cornmeal from. It's usually around 2 trailer loads a week, about 70 ton. We won't have enough corn to supply ourselves with. We'll have to buy cornmeal in, and we might choose to buy the first batch in until the price of corn goes up, and then use the stock that we have contributed to Genoa Commodities. So hopefully we don't have any more issues with the combine here, but it's just basic stuff that kind of goes along with the territory. It was sprinkling a little bit this morning. I was kind of on the fence of whether or not I should be combining at all. Kind of had the same situation yesterday morning. We had gotten some sleet, freezing rain the night before, and we had a very light coating of just a very light coating of ice and snow on the corn, but it was going right through the combine. I said, well, we could tiptoe and go real slow, and then as it was, we had that gathering chain come apart, or the tailings elevator chain come apart, and that cost us some time. And then we more or less had an issue today as well with the belts falling apart and having to go back to the farm to grab belts that I should have had in the toolbox of my truck. Past years I've carried those belts with me with having different problems with the grain unload system in the past. However, we didn't do that this time around. If I had the belts with me, I would not have had the problem that I had this morning. It's just, that's how it goes. So we'll have to get them new belts on here in the morning, and then I'll order another set of belts so that I could have brand new ones sitting in place. The first set of belts, I think the outside belt burned up, and then that outside belt got thrown off, and when that got thrown off, it threw the inside belt off. And then I think that screwed up the belt drive for the stalk chopper. We don't seem to have, we can't really see anything wrong with the pulleys or anything, but we'll just have to see how it goes. We won't really know we got a problem until we get new belts on there. If we keep chewing up the old ones, it's because they are, well, they've got some age on them. So it is what it is. So we'll keep at it. We got to put a little more corn onto the truck that is in the field. And yeah, so this corn here was quite a bit drier than, we're running like 19 to 20%, and this corn was planted on, like, I haven't looked it up, but right around the 12th or so of May, between the 12th and the 15th. Stuff we were into yesterday was planted some 2 weeks later. So we'll keep at it here. If we have any more excitement here, we'll be sure to show you what we have going on. We'll bring you along for the agony of which harvest has brung on us so far this year, but it's really not a big deal. Some guys dwell on this stuff for days on end and complain and bitch and moan and every other damn thing, but it's just another day here. So this was planted with the 16 row planter, and my guess rows, as the planter come across this knob here, aren't quite right on. So I was crowding a little bit there. I was picking up 2 rows on the outside row, and that's why we have a skipper row there, a single row that we're grabbing all the whirl here. So we've got just a little left here, then we'll move on to a field that doesn't have such a knob in it. But this corn's pretty good for the field that it is on. This knob looked horrible this summer when it was as dry as it was. This field of corn looked absolutely horrible. So we'll join up with you a little later on if we don't have any problems. Yeah, it'll be good. So, yep. All right, let's see how this goes. We've got our auger uphill a little bit. Probably should be doing that, but we got to test everything to the full max here. This is the second time that we have offloaded since we put the second set of belts on. I have sent an email out to everybody, tell them I was going to be going to have the camera going, so please don't call. Oh, so we didn't have much in the bin, but going up and down this hill here, it is a little bit of work on the old girl here. So rather than tax the hydro, we might as well get it as light as we can and keep it as light as we can. So it looks like we got a little farther than we did last time unloading, so that's a good thing. Made it to the end, or to completion. Well, we've got just a little bit left in here. It's questionable whether or not it's going to fill Sarge up or not. So we'll keep at it.